Congress just voted to take another hour away from permanent. Same week, a country singer canceled his tour to bury his father. Same week, Lionel Messi might be playing the last World Cup semifinal of his career. Three headlines, zero overlap on paper, but underneath all three is the same question: who gets to decide what's normal and who pays for it? I'm Mr. O, Palestinian by blood, Minnesotan by zip code. Let's discuss this. Tuesday, the House passed the Sunshine Protection Act 308 to 117. Daylight saving times permanent. No more falling back. The bill's been dead in Congress for 50 years. It's just found new legs. Backed by the president and now headed to the Senate. The pitch is simple: more evening light, better for business, better for kids playing outside after school. 19 states already said yes before Congress even acted. Every fix to the clock in America history has been sold as a neutral. It never is. Farmers hated it. In 1918, parents hate the dark morning commute. Doctors now tell you permanent DST messes with your circadian rhythm worse than the permanent standard time limit. So why keep pushing it? Because normal is profitable. More daylight in the evening means more shopping, more errands, and more economic activity squeezed out of your body clock. That's the pattern I keep coming back to on this channel. Systems don't steal your time by asking. They steal your time by rebranding as theft, as convenience. Not every headline this week is about power. Country artist Zach John King stepped off the road this week after losing his father suddenly. He called the greatest man I'll ever know and asked fans for his prayers, not attention. I'm not going to turn someone's grief into a talking point, but I will say this. While Washington argues over how to control an hour, a man in Nashville reminded us that time isn't something you legislate, it's something you run out of. And that contrast is worth sitting with for a second before we moved on. I grew up translating between two clocks my whole life: Minnesota time and the time my grandparents kept. Prayer times, olive harvest times, rhythm of the homeland that I've never visited. In memory, while Washington debates over stealing an hour, I hear an echo of something bigger. Communities that already know what it feels like to have their space, their land, and their time redefined by someone else's convenience. That's not grievance, that's just pattern recognition. Being Palestinian and Minnesotan means I live in two normals at once. So forgive me if I don't trust the version of normal being sold to me by a 308 to 117 vote. While Congress fights over daylight, a different clock is running out in Atlanta. England and Argentina play today for a spot in Sunday's final. Messi's chasing his last World Cup, tied for the tournament goal lead, trying to write the final chapter of his greatest career the sport's ever seen. Spain already punched their ticket, knocking out France 2-0 last night. 4 years from now, nobody's talking about the House vote. They're talking about whether Messi got one more dance. That's the difference between manufactured time and meaningful time. One gets debated on the House floor, and the other gets earned a pitch in the front of the whole planet. Here's what's wild about this World Cup. It's one global event where nobody is fighting about whose time zones matters. 16 cities, 3 countries, and 90 minutes of the whole world actually agrees to watch the same clock together. That's not nothing. In a year where legislatures are arguing about controlling an hour and where entire cities, including Palestinian ones, are living under clocks they didn't choose. A World Cup semifinal is proof that people can still sync up voluntarily around the something that actually unites instead of divides. A stolen hour, father's memory, a last World Cup run. On the surface, nothing connects them, but all three are reminders that time isn't neutral. It's either taken away from you or it's something you fight to make meaningful before it runs out. Congress gets to vote on your clock. Nobody's got to vote on Zach John King's losing his dad. And nobody's voting on whether Messi gets another storybook ending. So he has to earn it this week on the field. That's that's the real normal question. Not what time we set to clocks to, but who's actually in control of their own hours and who's just living inside someone else's schedule. So here is my real question for you guys. If you got your stolen hour back tomorrow, permanent, no strings attached, extra hour, what would you actually do with it? Would you spend your time on something that matters? Or would you just hand it right back to another system, asking for your time? Drop your answers below. I read every comment. I'm Mr. O from Minnesota, Mr. O from the stove, at Omar Audits on YouTube. If this connected some dots for you, hit subscribe. I break down what's actually trending, 3 stories at a time, every single day, couple days a week. Catch the semifinals today. I'll see you for the finals. I'm Mr. O from the Stove. Comment, subscribe, and like. And coming from Maple Grove, Minnesota. And we will catch you in the next one.